A warm welcome to this special commemoration at the Groesbeek Canadian War Cemetery. It is an honor to gather here in remembrance and reflection. I would like to express a heartfelt welcome to the Mrs. Natalie Holop, the Council of the Embassy of the Ukraine to the Netherlands, Mr. Richard Martin Nielsen, Councillor to the Embassy of Canada to the Netherlands, and Mr. Mark Slinkum, Mayor of Bergendal. We very much appreciate your presence here. My name is Alice van Becken. I am the chair of Face to Graves Foundation, and if you look behind me, you can see that our organization has placed photos at most of the graves. 2,000 from the 2,618 headstones we have. Today is the last day of our event called The Faces of Groesbeek, which was organized in the context of 80 years of freedom. Tomorrow we will remove all the photos and we will store them for another time. But the photos and live stories are always available in the digital monument on our website face2graves.nl. And now, during this commemoration, we will honor those 58 Canadian soldiers of Ukrainian descent who sacrificed their lives during the Second World War for the cause of peace and freedom. After this ceremony, you will get a chance to lay flowers at their graves and to pay respect to each one of them. Recently, I heard a captain of the Dutch Salvation Army say, "We must share the blessing of freedom by sharing hope and affection to those who cannot live in freedom." I hope this ceremony will contribute to that. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Lilia Lewandowska, and I'm very honored to be here. And I would like to say thanks to Faces to Graves initiative, and also to all other organizers for inviting us to contribute to such an important event. I am coordinating Nijmegen for Ukraine, which is a community that organizes events in support of Ukraine in the current ongoing Russian invasion. And we have organized many cultural events, many demonstrations, together with the Choir Phoenix and with Ukrainian children who live here in Nijmegen and surrounding towns. But I believe that such event as organized today is to be of crucial importance because it is a bridge between the past and present, because it emphasizes the struggle of Ukrainians for freedom both during the World War II and also now. Ukrainians have fought during the World War II in the service of various armies, and they were also fighting the Second Front, the Soviet Union, which later occupied Ukraine. And it is very important that Ukrainian names are not lost among the Allied forces or among the Soviet Army soldiers, and they are said out loudly. And I think that such an event shows that historic justice will always prevail, because we are now remembering these names together in the region that played a crucial role in bringing the freedom to Europe, because a lot of events happened here in the region that brought the freedom to Europe closer. And that is why I hope that by remembering these names together, we will also see the hope that the historic justice will prevail and the ongoing war will end with Ukrainian victory, and the names of Ukrainian defenders who fought for freedom of Europe now will also be remembered later. Many thanks. Slava Ukraini!
Alice and Lilia, thank you for your introductory remarks. Dear friends, my name is Florian Goddard, and I will be guiding you through this gathering from this point onward. I would now like to invite our mayor, Mr. Mark Slinkman, to deliver his speech.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, we've come together again at this Canadian War Cemetery, as we have done on several occasions during the last few weeks. We have celebrated the return of freedom to these lands now 80 years ago. And we have commemorated those that sacrificed their lives fighting to achieve that freedom. 5 long years our country was occupied by the Nazis. 5 long years of oppression and destruction. 5 long years in which many of our people were persecuted and murdered. And then all of that ended. Because right on the other side of the world, friendly nations stood up for us. And thousands upon thousands of their young men stepped forward, prepared to fight for the freedom of people they had never met. And the more you reflect on it, the more miraculous that becomes. The world often seems to be a cold and cruel place. And many times, and on many occasions, it is. Yet in our liberation, we've also experienced how many good people there actually are in the world. And that when enough good people join forces, they can overcome the power of evil. Most of the generous and brave young men that came over were able to return to Canada and to their homes and families. We were honoured to welcome 21 of them here a few weeks ago, the eldest 105 years old. Thousands of them, though, were not so fortunate and were killed fighting for their ideal of a free and a just world. During the last 10 years, much work has been done to learn more about these brave liberators resting here, and we've gotten to know many of their faces and their life stories. And seeing their faces and knowing where they came from deepens the respect we feel for the sacrifice they made. Some of these Canadians were of Dutch descent, others were Jewish, and recently we've learned that some 60 of those buried here were part of the Indigenous peoples of Canada. Very different people, from very different backgrounds, yet all wearing the same uniform, all sharing the same values, and the conviction that all the peoples of the world should be free. Today we pay special attention to the dozens of Canadians of Ukrainian descent that are buried here. These men or their ancestors left Ukraine to go in search of a better life. They left a Ukraine that was ruled by Russia. Some of those that left were Jewish, escaping from the state-inspired pogroms. Others fled a desperate economical situation or the political chaos and destruction following the Russian Revolution and the establishment of the communist dictatorship. Can it have been that history of their families being suppressed, of not being free, that inspired them to take up arms and return to the old continent to fight for liberty? Whatever it was that motivated them so many years ago, their example is certainly an inspiration for us today. Canada, Ukraine, and the Netherlands are thousands of miles apart from each other. Yet here we are together, and our shared history connects the past with the present. What brought us together 80 years ago brings us together today, and more importantly, it paves the way for a shared future. And it makes clear that distance doesn't matter, that freedom knows no border, no nationality. Freedom is universal, and the struggle for it affects us all. Today it is not the Netherlands, but it is Ukraine that is under attack. It is Ukraine that is fighting for its existence, for its independence, for its future. Times are dark for its people, and it is often difficult to keep believing that one day it'll all be over. So much destruction, so much suffering, so many people dying every day. And yet, there is in the history of the world no example of evil triumphing permanently. It has been forced into retreat and defeat in 1945, and it will do so again. The Dutch were not alone then, and Ukraine is not alone now. The best way to honor the brave men resting here is by following their example, and for all of us, Canadians, Ukrainians and Dutch, to take responsibility, each and every one of us, by continuing to work for universal peace and liberty. Thank you.
Dear guests, we are now listening to the song Plivkaja Potisny, performed by the Phoenix Choir. This traditional Ukrainian folk song portrays a moving conversation between a mother and her son who's heading off to war. The mother begs him to stay, but the son feels called to fight, even thought it may cost him his life. The song expresses sorrow, sacrifice, and a mother's love. It is often sung at military funerals and commemorations, and since 2014 it has become a symbol of mourning for fallen soldiers.
Гей, плине кача по тисині, плине кача по тисині. Мамко ж моя, не лай мені, мамко ж моя, не лай мені. Гей, залаєш ми в злу годину, залаєш ми в злу годину. Сам не знаю, де погину, сам не знаю, де погину. Гей, погину ж я в чужім краю, погину ж я в чужім краю. Хто ми буде брати яму? Хто ми буде брати яму? Гей, виберуть ми чужі люди, виберуть ми чужі люди. Ці не жаль ти, мамко, будеш, ці не жаль ти, мамко, будеш. Ой, як же ж мені, синку, не жаль, як же ж мені, синку, не жаль, ти ж на моїм серцю лежав, ти ж на моїм серцю лежав. Гей, плине кача по тисині, плине кача по тисині.
I would now like to invite Mr. Richard Martin Newson, Councillor of the Embassy of Canada to the Netherlands, to deliver his speech.
Honoured guests, Mr. Mayor, Councillor Hulub, Ms. Van Weckham, dear veteran, family members and friends, chers vétérans, membres de famille et amis. 2 weeks ago, we gathered here in Groesbeek, Canadian War Cemetery, to commemorate the valiant souls who so courageously fought for freedom during the Second World War. When we come here, we are reminded of the cost of peace as we walk among the graves of those who gave their lives to secure it. For the 2,610 Commonwealth soldiers buried here, we wish it could be different. We wish that they could be among us, frail as they now would be, and that they too could feel the magnitude of this moment. They gave their lives for this, for a country that knows and has never forgotten the profound value of freedom and peace. Many Canadians did go home. Many others made this ultimate sacrifice. Le bravoure et le altruisme demeurent à jamais gravés dans nos mémoires, nous rappelant solennellement que la paix dans laquelle nous vivons ici et que nos troupes partout dans le monde continuent de protéger est profondément ancrée dans leur sacrifice. When we think of the peace they gave us, we must consider our continuing responsibility. We are temporary custodians of the peace that we inherited, and caretakers of the memories of those who never got the chance to live beyond the war. Names are cut into these grave markers. A service number, a maple leaf or a military emblem, the date of death, a cross or a Star of David or other religious symbol, and a phrase chosen by a grieving family. The work of Faces to Graves helps us to honor these Canadians, showing them to us as real people who lived real lives, left real legacies, and real grief. As we go among these graves, we get a picture of the variety of Canada 80 years ago, represented in the variety of the Canadians who are buried here. Today, we are thinking especially of the Canadians of Ukrainian heritage who fought for Canada and for peace in Europe. Among them are Walter Kasurak, George Yanchuk, Michael Yornuk, all of Ontario, and John Bohon. John Bohonko was born in 1925 in Veliki Berezhny, a small town at the western edge of today's Ukraine. When he was a young child, his parents moved to Canada to get away from wars and rumors of wars. He grew up in Toronto, where I went to university, then joined the Canadian Army in 1943. By his 20th birthday, he was back in Europe, fighting along the Rhine. Weeks later, he died in Riez, a little more than a month before Germany's surrender, and he's now buried here. These are some of the many Canadians buried or commemorated here. As large-scale war has returned to this continent, we hope for peace, and we remember and honour the Canadians buried here for their service to Canada and their sacrifice which once brought peace and freedom to Europe. On behalf of a grateful nation, we will say, Danku, thank you, merci.
Dear guests, we are now listening to the poem Long Live Ukraine by Alexander Olesh, written in 1917 and recited by Mark. The poem celebrates love for the homeland and calls for freedom, unity, and national pride. Composed during the struggle for independence, it has become a powerful symbol of Ukrainian identity. The phrase, "Long live Ukraine, long live the heroes," has since echoed at memorials, protests, and national celebrations. Since the Russian invasion in 2022, the poem has gained even greater relevance and strength.
Живи, Україно, живи для краси, для сили, для правди, для волі. Шуми, Україно, як рідні ліси, як вітер в широкому полі. До суду тебе не скують ланцюги, і руки не скрутять ворожі. Стоять твої рідні сини навкруги, шаблями в руках насторожі. Стоять, присягаються тобі на шаблях, і жити, і вмерти з тобою, і прапори рідні в кривавих боях ніколи не вкрити ганьбою.
Thank you, Mark. We will now listen to the song Oi Ulusi Czerwona Kalina, performed by the Phoenix Choir. This Ukrainian patriotic song from World War I celebrates the struggle of the Ukrainian Cossacks for freedom and independence. The red kalina, a wild rose, symbolizes Ukraine and its resilience to rise again. The song calls for courage, loyalty, and the restoration of the nation. Since the Russian invasion in 2022, it has frequently been sung as a powerful symbol of resistance and national unity.
Ой, у лузі червона калина похилилася, чогось наша славна Україна зажурилася, а ми тую червону калину підіймемо, а ми нашу славну Україну, гей, гей, розвеселимо. Марширують наші добровольці у кривавий стан, визволяти братів українців з ворожих кайдан. А ми тую червону калину підіймемо, а ми нашу славну Україну, гей, гей, розвеселимо. Не хилися, червона калина, маєш білий цвіт. Не журися, славна Україна, маєш вільний рід. А ми тую червону калину підіймемо, а ми нашу славну Україну, гей, гей, розвеселимо. А ми тую червону калину підіймемо, а ми нашу славну Україну, гей, гей, розвеселимо. Thank you very much.
I would now like to invite Ms. Natalia Holub, Counselor of the Embassy of Ukraine to the Netherlands and our keynote speaker today, to deliver her speech.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, honorable guests, it is a great honor for me to stand here on behalf of the Embassy of Ukraine at this solemn, deeply meaningful commemoration. We gather here not only to remember but to pay tribute to more than 40 Canadian soldiers with Ukrainian descent who gave their lives during the World War II. These are young men, many of them born in Canada in Ukrainian families, who have crossed the ocean in search of better life. Despite the distance from their homeland, they worked hard to preserve their language, culture, identity, and stayed connected to their roots. I looked through the list of these people and saw a lot of Ukrainian names and surnames. And when world needed them, they didn't hesitate to go fight against fascism. These young men fought believing in values of freedom, justice, human dignity. Ukrainian soldiers, both then and now, unfortunately nowadays as well, have shown incredible courage and resilience. They are brave, noble, always ready to give their lives for freedom of other people, for peaceful future of generations to come. Today, their sacrifice is not forgotten. The Canadian War Cemetery in Groesbeek is more just burial ground. It is a place of memory, reflection, and deep gratitude. Each headstone tells us a story of sacrifice. Thanks to the care and respect shown here, these young soldiers rest in honor, far from their homeland, but never far from our thoughts and hearts. Let me express our deepest gratitude to the Faces to Graves Foundation for their extraordinary work. Through the project the Faces of Groesbeek, they gave a face, a story and voice to those who might otherwise be lost to history. By placing photo on graves and writing their life stories, they have allowed families in Canada and Netherlands, in Ukraine, people across Europe to connect with these fallen heroes once more. Let us remember that the fight against fascism cost millions of lives. It was a battle for every soul of humanity. And today, as we once again face challenges to peace and democracy in Europe and beyond, this sacrifice reminds us of the price of freedom and the duty we all share to defend it. Let us remember what these young men stand for. May memory of these brave soldiers live on, not only in stone and photograph, but in our hearts and our actions forever. Thank you very much.
Dear guests, we are now listening to My Daughter, a moving poem by Pavlo Visibaba, written in 2022 at the front lines and recited by Zlata. The poet addresses his daughter with a plea not to write about the war, but about life, nature, and her own feelings. The poem reflects a human side of war and the deep bond between parent and child. It is often shared and recited by Ukrainian soldiers as a symbol of hope and love during times of conflict. Since the outbreak of the war, it has become a voice of comfort and determination.
Доньці, тільки не пиши мені про війну. Розкажи, чи є біля тебе сад, чи ти чуєш коників і цикад, і чи повзають равлики по в'юну. Як у тих далеких від нас краях називають люди своїх котів. Те, чого найбільше би я хотів, щоб не було суму в твоїх рядках. Чи цвіте там вишня та абрикос, і якщо подарують тобі букет, не розкажу, як бігля ти від ракет. Розкажи, як добре нам тут жилось. Запросив Україну до нас гостей, всіх, кого зустрінеш на чужині. Ми покажемо кожному по війні, як ми вдячні за спокій своїх дітей. Now I'm going to read the translation by Lilia Lewandowska. Don't write me about the war. Tell me if there's a garden next to your front door. Can you hear the grasshoppers and cicadas humming loudly? Can you see little snails crawling over the ivy? Which names do people in those faraway lands give to their beloved cats? My biggest wish among this madness, for you to write without any sadness. Write me if apricots and cherries there are already in bloom. And when someone gives you a flower bouquet, don't tell them about the missiles you had to escape. Just tell them about the good times we had. Invite your new friends to Ukraine and everyone else you'll meet on your way. After the war, we'll make sure they'll see how grateful we are for the safety of our kids. Slava Ukraini!
We have now arrived at the moment of the wreath laying and remembrance of all Canadian soldiers of Ukrainian descent who gave their lives for our freedom. Ms. Natalia Holub will lay a wreath on behalf of the people of Ukraine. Mr. Martin Nielsen will lay a wreath on behalf of the people of Canada. Mr. Slinkman will lay a wreath on behalf of the people of the municipality of Bergendal. Are there any other attendees who would like to lay flowers? May this wreath be a symbol of our gratitude, our unity, and our lasting remembrance. We now hear the last post, followed by 2 minutes of silence and a reveille.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not worry them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them.
Goedemiddag, beste dames en heren. Mijn naam is Ivan Premenko. Ik woon sinds 2022 in de gemeente Bergendal. Ik ben een leerling van basisschool De Siepe. En net als veel andere kinderen uit Oekraïne ben ik gevlucht. Op 24 februari 2022 werd ik zoals gewoonlijk wakker en begon ik me klaar te maken voor school. Maar mijn moeder zei dat de oorlog was begonnen, dat ik vandaag niet naar school kon gaan. In eerste instantie was ik blij dat ik vandaag een vrije dag had. Maar even later besefte ik dat het niet zomaar een vrije dag was. Ik voelde dat mijn ouders bang waren. Op dat moment begreep ik niet wat gebeurde en wat het voor ons zou betekenen. Het hele gezin sliep in de gang. De ramen werden geblokkeerd met kasten en wij leefden zonder licht of water. Ik wilde graag pizza of snoep, maar er was niks te vinden in de schappen van de winkels. Op een dag werden we wakker omdat de kroonlucht in de kamer heen en weer zwaait door al het geweld dat buiten te horen was. Het was heel erg eng. Ik had het gevoel dat alles waar ik aan hield binnen een seconde kon verdwijnen. Ik besloot uit de stad weg te gaan en alles achter te laten. Ik moest mijn favoriete kamer, mijn zachte kussen, mijn speelgoed en de boeken achterlaten die ik voor het slapen gaan graag met mijn moeder las. Ik wist ook niet wanneer ik mijn grootouders weer zou zien. We moesten weg, het werd te gevaarlijk. Onderweg werden we ontvangen door volslagen vreemden die hun bed en heerlijk eten met ons deelden. Nederland verwelkomde ons. Warme, open en vriendelijke mensen. Ik ging weer naar school. Het was eerst moeilijk om Nederlands taal te leren, maar nu kan ik gelukkig gemakkelijk praten met mijn Nederlandse vrienden. Als ik slaap, droom ik vaak. Ik droom dat geen oorlog is in de wereld. Nergens meer. Nooit meer. Ik droom over mijn speelgoed, mijn knuffels, de geur van mijn huis. Ik droom dat ik op mijn bed op en neer spring en dat ik met mijn broer door het appartement ren. Dat ons gezin een rit maakt in de auto met de ramen open en de wind vol. Ik droom dat we gaan logeren bij mijn grootouders in hun datje. Ik wil graag naar bed gaan, in mijn eigen bed, dat mijn moeder mij voorleest met mijn favoriete boek, voordat ik rustig in slaap val. Vandaag denken wij aan de oorlogen die zijn geweest. Niet alleen de oorlog 80 jaar geleden, maar ook aan de felle oorlogen tot nu toe. Ik denk aan mijn oorlog. We herinneren om te eren, maar ook om te leren. Laten we zorgen dat kinderen en volwassenen niet hoeven te vluchten. Geen angst, geen zinloze verwoesting. Laten we samenleven. Laten we zorgen voor vrede.
For me, thank you for invitation. For me, an honor to be here and commemorating today those who gave their lives for freedom and justice. We got 80 years of peace thanks to determined leaders and brave soldiers of 20th century who were not afraid to challenge evil and fight for justice. As before, so now, the only thing necessary for triumph of evil is for good people to do nothing or stay indifferent. I'm not one of those who take freedom for granted, because freedom is not a gift, it's a choice, it's a responsibility. I remember every day those who gave their lives not only for freedom of Ukraine, but also to prepare our world to returning an era prepare our world to returning to an era of terror, impunity, and imperialism. For us, it's a struggle for our native land and right to choose. For Europe, it's the last frontier after which chaos begins. But we must believe in change, because each of us can be this small change what will move whole world. And we have not right to be indifferent, because each of us are matter. And every time when we turn blind eyes on the injustice near us, we are losing a chance for change our world for the better. And if we are united, if we acting together, we can overcome any obstacles and make our world a place where every life, every act, every good deed is valued. In this time of very difficult challenges, of very seriously challenges, we must be united and act as one for good of the people. And only in this case we can protect our home and future. Long live Europe! And слава Україні!
Героям слава!
Thank you, Ivan and Andrei, for your wise words. May I now kindly ask you, if you are able to do so, to please stand for the national anthems of Ukraine, Canada and the Netherlands. Ms. Hollow, Mr. Martin Nielsen and Mr. Slinkman, may I invite you to be the first to lay flowers together at one of their graves. Thank you.
Ja, diezelfde.